As many speculated prior, Diablo 2 Resurrected has pretty much been in maintenance mode ever since Diablo 4 came out, because so many people are just rushing to be able to play that game, especially with the amazing start of the very first ladder season that game had. And there's so many people that are continuing to play Diablo 2, which shows that the devs really care about this game with all the amazing implementations that they had for ladder season 5. I couldn't even keep up with all the amazing things that they brought to this game in this new ladder season. Joking aside, I want to discuss what I feel are 5 needed changes to be able to implement into this game, to be able to keep it fresh, to be able to keep people wanting to play it, especially with, unfortunately, Blizzard is not in the most favorable light when it comes to public perception. So for the player base that is still around for Diablo 2 Resurrected, these changes would hopefully be able to keep them not only happy, but wanting more, as they would be able to expand on the builds that they already have, to be able to make things fresh when it comes to the variety of the items that they could use, but also just to be able to, in a way, add more value to things that otherwise never really had much value. But I'll go ahead and discuss that through the 5 things that I feel need to be changed and implemented in this game. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I want to talk about is implementing something with the standard of heroes to make it an item that people would actually want to be able to pick up and farm for when it comes to doing Uber runs. One thing that people typically just completely ignore when it comes to doing Uber runs is the standard of heroes, which is pretty much just a participation trophy of accomplishment and being able to complete getting your torch when it comes to running Ubers. Going through the minis, going to Uber Tristram, get your torch, hopefully it rolls good, but people typically just leave the standard of heroes on the ground to never even give any type of attention whatsoever. So one thing that I feel could be really beneficial for this particular item is to be able to give it value when it comes to, for example, adding enough of them into the cube, whether it be 6 of them in the cube all the way up to 12, being able to transmute it into an item that would be able to make any item that is non-ethereal ethereal, which could also include set items that typically would not be able to roll ethereal. What this would do is to be able to give an incentive to do more when it comes to Uber runs and to be able to actually pick up the standard of heroes and make it something that is worth trading. This also will help when it comes to being able to get the items that you need, especially for rune words. There's a lot of them that have the indestructible mod that you would want to be able to put into an ethereal base to be able to benefit from the lower requirements needed to be able to equip the item. This would be able to help when it comes to gearing up for your endgame content, especially for people that are wanting to make Bot D or Exile, things that again have the ability to either be indestructible or repairs mod. This would make it to where you can find those items if you're not able to find them in an ethereal form, to be able to go through, do some Uber runs, and to be able to actually use that to be able to transmute into an item that makes the bases of items ethereal, making it easier to be able to get to the rune words that you need to be able to use for endgame content. And it's not something that I feel is going to be extremely hard to do when it comes to re-rolling items such as diadems, the rare ones, to be able to try to get a 220. It takes up the 1 circlet and then the 6 perfect skulls to be able to re-roll to hopefully get the item that you desire. So to be able to say that we would need 12 of them is not, again, asking too much. There are people that are dedicated Uber runners that would be able to then benefit of not only being able to help people get their first torch or to be able to do torches for whatever type of trade that they're looking for, to then pick up the standard of heroes to be able to make into items that would be able to turn the bases of weapons or any item in the game ethereal. And it would make it to where it helps within not only single player offline, but online with the trading community to be able to have an additional item to be able to trade. And again, just bring more value to endgame content, as well as those that are trying to get to their endgame builds a little bit faster. The second point I want to talk about is buff up unique items to be able to finally compete with rune words. One of the things that really changed the game when it comes to Diablo 2 was the introduction to rune words, because so many builds, one I talk about a lot is the Whirlwind Barbarian, being able to use grandfathers, unfortunately has been phased out due to being able to have weapons like Grief. Even a really poorly rolled Grief most people are going to be choosing over a grandfather. So something that would be really helpful is to be able to finally give some value to uniques aside from just being things to be able to collect for their grail. This is something that many people have said needs to be changed in this game to be able to make it even more fun, especially with the idea of people trying to live off nostalgia, which is what Diablo 2 Resurrected was doing, and making an old game that people loved and it was timeless, people still played it, to add new graphics to the game, few different quality light changes from different mods such as Pluggy, and to be able to, again, just kind of make builds that were once very viable, once very playable, to be able to make that something that people would actually want to try out in this game and to be able to actually thrive with playing in this game. I think that being able to finally buff uniques to make them actually feel unique, to actually want to actually farm for them, aside from just doing a ton of LK super chests or countess runs to get the runes, to be able to make the overpowered runes that just completely overshadow all the uniques in the game anyway. So buffing uniques would be really beneficial to be able to add variety to this game of the items that you can use, and to be able to make a lot of builds that otherwise were not really played in this game, hopefully have more shine and have more people trying them out, as they are really fun to be able to play. My third point, which kind of piggybacks off the last one, is to make new uniques to be able to actually have something new to bring to Diablo 2 Resurrected. Many patches have seen new rune wards being made, and to be able to actually make some new uniques, to be able to have something that differentiates when it comes to gear that you use from Diablo 2 to Diablo 2 Resurrected, I think that would be really, really helpful with being able to add more variety. It doesn't have to be anything, again, groundbreaking, but to be able to finally make new uniques, people would love that. Players would actually love to see different things that they can use aside from just SOJs, BK rings, or to be able to use High Lord's Wrath, Maras, or Metal Grid for more niche type of builds. To be able to have something that actually would compete with Griffins, or a different type of Shaco, something implemented that would be unique for Diablo 2 Resurrected. Not just uniques that you would be able to farm for, but something that actually is unique to Diablo 2 Resurrected that you would not get in other mods or just the base game of Diablo 2. Making something that is unique items in the game, would show people that there is still a reason to be able to play this game aside from just, again, nostalgia, or people that are just hardcore towards playing this game, that love the grind, that love the latter season, to be able to see how their builds would hold up from season to season, and especially for those that play PvP. Adding more uniques and something that actually feels worthy of actually farming for would be a really nice implementation for this game. My fourth point, devs, please stop. If you are going to make new rune wards, which is the only thing that you've been actually making in this game, please stop making things that are so focused to early to mid game, and actually focus on things that will be able to compete with what's already there for end game content. Being able to make something that is going to be able to compete with Grief, what is going to compete with Infinity, to be able to open it up to not only have to farm for Burr, Mal, Burr, Ist, something that would be able to be used in endgame content. You have made a few things such as Metamorphosis that would be able to, unfortunately, phase out Jalal's main to many people, but so many of the new rune words in the prior patches have focused solely on early to mid-game content, which is nice for latter season, but there's already so many different rune words and so many different things that we can already use that you're only just oversaturating the pool of what we could actually choose from. For example, Hustle, the original Hustle. I loved it for the idea of being able to help with my Act 1 mercenary going through the Ubers process. It was actually the one thing that I was really trying to lean on to be able to get through that entire run.
Flashback.
However, I didn't really get a chance to test the run to completion with going through the minis all the way through Uber Tristram with the Hustle rune word as it was, because I was going on a week-long vacation, and by the time I got home, the PTR was then closed. To be clear, this is how Hustle was when I left to go on vacation. Then the patch notes came out when I got back, and this is what they ended up doing to it. So the level 9 burst speed proc is now level 1. For this run, that's quite the drastic change that could make or break the success of this concept.
End of flashback.
I'm sorry to say this, but when it comes to the appeal to new players for Diablo 2 Resurrected, so many of them have already gone to other games. There is a player base, don't get me wrong, but if you're trying to appeal to new players for Diablo 2 Resurrected, devs, they're not here in droves like when the game first launched. They're not here looking for new rune words to help them get through the latter season. So please, if you can, focus on things that the player base that is still here would really like and would really benefit from. New rune words that could actually compete with the rune words that are already out would be really helpful and really nice. It's not to say that there won't be new people to be able to play this game. I would love if more people would be able to play it. Hell, even when it comes to my build guides, I do endgame focused and budget in hopes that if anybody likes the endgame ones but doesn't have the time to be able to invest into it, they can try out the budget version, see if they like it, and from there make a decision if they want to continue. I know that those videos don't get a lot of views. Perfectly fine. It's there for those in case they want it. However, when it comes to early to mid game, when it comes to rune words that have been made, it just seems like it's just the easiest thing for you guys to make. You throw it out there, hope we like it, and that's that. Please focus on things that is for the player base that you actually have and retain season after season. Even after this last season where we got absolutely nothing, people are still loving this game. They're still playing latter season. They're excited for it, but to please focus on the player base that you have and stop focusing on the ones that you hope you can get, because they may never come, they may never play, but the players that are already here would appreciate you actually giving them a little bit of appreciation and to focus on them and to think of them when it comes to the items, especially if you're making new rune words. They would appreciate you having them into consideration with any of the new items that you make going forward. My fifth and final point is, please start focusing on a little bit more endgame content as far as variety for what we could do. I'm not saying to have to go to a drastic measure such as making an Act 6, but the idea of being able to have something else to do besides Holy Grailing, reaching level 99, or just simply, for a lot of people, they like to help rush other characters within their playthroughs to be able to get through hell, to be able to farm for themselves, or people that love PvP. Obviously, they love what they do. It's not going to change. But for those people that are looking for something a little bit different within this game, to be able to add a little bit more endgame content would be really nice, and to be able to keep things fresh within the game. Something that I actually really like when it comes to endgame content from Project Diablo 2 is the idea of maps, to be able to have them spawn random things, to be able to see if your build can hold up. They could spawn with, for example, incredible monster density, to where as soon as you go through the portal, you are now just overrun with enemies to be able to try to overcome, and maybe your build can hold up to it, maybe not. But to be able to have something that would be a little bit interesting, new, and fresh for the endgame content would be really nice. It could also spawn with, for example, this area has 200 Magic Find already implemented into it. However, the monsters are all automatically player's A. So that would make it to where it is a huge grind to be able to get through and capitalize on the Magic Find that you have, especially if your build is not quite up to par. Again, just something like that would be really nice. Maybe when it comes to endgame content from Terror Zones, something that would help to corrupt items would be really cool. Again, from Project Diablo 2, and I know that's not original to Project Diablo 2. But beside that, I think just being able to add a little bit more endgame content to be able to keep things interesting, because it is, again, fun to be able to grind for the build that you want to be able to make. And some builds take more than a season to be able to actually fully gear up, especially if you're trying to optimize it for min-maxing everything as far as damage, survivability, resistances, whatever it is that you're looking for. It might take a season or two to be able to do so. However, it is fun to go through Ubers, but that does get a little bit tiring. Then you have going through and trying to reach level 99, which after 94, 95, it just feels like a slog. It just makes it to where it is very difficult to stay focused on it, because you know that you have to go through the pattern of the same areas over and over again to start actually building up your experience. Terror Zones were a great implementation because it did add more difficulty for those areas, especially being able to drop really nice items. One of the problems I see with it, and this is just simply me nitpicking, I can't be online when the Terror Zone that I'm personally looking for is going to be active, because I'm an adult, I have things to do outside of playing this game. So sometimes I miss the zone that I'd actually like to play with the particular build. So it is one of those downsides to playing in this game, is especially if you want to really try to farm Terror Zones, you have to make sure that you're on at the right time to be able to farm what you're looking for the items that you're looking for. So to be able to continue on the hype from Terror Zones that people had, with not only just being able to farm the level 85 areas, but new Terror Zones that would be a lot easier for certain builds and then challenge other builds. Again, Thunder Charms was really nice for a lot of people. I personally don't favor them unless I really have to. However, those were really good implementations, and to continue on that trend, to be able to focus on endgame content would be really nice and a great implementation in this game. And that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Do you guys agree with my list of things that I feel need to be implemented in the game? Do you agree, disagree? Let me know what you guys think. I'd love to have a discussion with you guys down in the comment section below to be able to see where everyone stands. And hopefully when it comes to the next ladder season, especially when it comes to the patch notes for someone like me, I only play offline because I just don't have the time to be able to invest in a character to play online, and then unfortunately have to take such long breaks for when I get the chance to be able to play it. I only have maybe about 5 to 10 hours to be able to play online really, and unfortunately with the long gaps in between playing, it wouldn't make ladder interesting for me, only because of the fact that by the time I play it again, everyone's already geared up in level 80s and 90s, and the people that I would love to play with and to be able to partake in a lot of fun ladder events, rushing through different areas, to be able to try out different type of builds, and to be able to go through and maybe even try PvP. I'd be so far behind that it just wouldn't be worth it for me. My personal feelings, you obviously can feel different. But again, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Let's get a discussion going. If you like this kind of content and want to see more, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification to be notified whenever a new video comes out.
Come on. Come on. Come on, then. There you are. There you are.
And if you enjoyed this video, please let me know by leaving a like. It is really appreciated. Other than that, hope you're all staying safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.